The worst horror movie I ever saw was fucking great.
Hello and welcome to This May Hurt a Bit. My name is James Dreyer and this is
John C. Myers.
And we're a horror franchise podcast discussing each film in horror franchises. And today we are talking about Fright Night Part 2 from 1988. Same poster, just says Part 2 on it. That kind of cracked me up when I was looking up stuff about this.
Yeah, well, it's a different building. It's now like a complex, a dormitory or apartment building.
Right. I do kind of miss the Part 2, Part 3 in movie titles. We don't need Fright Night Rising. Just give me Fright Night Part 2.
Part 2. I know what I'm getting.
Right.
Yeah.
My first question: have you ever gone bowling alone?
Not alone. No.
No. They make it look like such a nerdy thing, and I'm just like, I don't know, just let the guy do what he likes to do. That was my first thought. Yeah, let the man roll.
Well, it's also, I think when he said go bowling alone, he didn't mean make sure there's no other human being on the premises.
That could have been it too.
Because that was it just looked, he was the only, bowling had just been invented and it was this niche thing.
Yeah, that's one of two things. Or no, it's one thing that leads to a second thing. It's we don't have money for extras in wardrobe, and a director going, "Oh, but it'll be eerie if he's alone." That's the sauce.
Yeah,
but I kid the director. Tommy Wallace. Tommy
Lee Wallace.
Tommy Lee. I was like, is it a Tommy Lee? And it's like, okay, not that Tommy Lee. Tommy Lee Wallace. Yeah.
He sanctions all kinds of buffoonery.
Director of Halloween 3 and It, the miniseries, the good one. Is that a franchise that we'll have to get around to?
Movie-wise, it's really just
2.
It's more of like a remake. Just the second remake is done over 2 movies.
Good, because after the rant that I went on at the end of last night's show, which will be dropping anytime now, I was going to say, am I talking myself into watching Welcome to Derry? No. Anyway, Fright Night Part 2. Tommy Lee Wallace in the director's chair, placing, under good terms, Tom Holland, who went on to do Child's Play. Just as we were talking about last episode, everybody had such a great time working on this. It seemed like a good time was had by all, and that always makes me happy.
Roddy McDowell and William Ragsdale happy to be back on the saddle together.
Originally going to have an Evil Ed, which, again, based on our conversation last time, it's not like I would have been disappointed in Ed being there. But again, once you have such a great death scene, feels cheap to bring him back, I think. So he evidently read the script and was just like, I'm going to go do 976 Evil instead. Directed by Robert Englund.
Yeah, I got to work with Robert Englund and like the script a bit better. So went and did that instead.
Can't blame him.
Yeah.
I know I've seen that, but I can barely remember what I think about it.
It's similar to Evil Speak in the sense that it's someone that, starts getting the power of the devil and goes a little bit too far with it.
Who's ever done that before?
Yeah.
I don't know, John. If I got the power, I would do it right.
I would use it just enough and for the right reasons.
For the right reasons, and nobody would know except all of my closest friends.
And my enemies. They would know. They would all know.
Right. And also, Charlie's girlfriend does not return. Not a whole lot for her to do in the script, and I think she just sort of passed.
It makes sense for what they're doing in this one with his character.
It does.
To, someone that was like, yeah, no, vampires are real. Remember, I used to be a vampire. Yeah. Remember that whole thing?
Yeah.
That have someone be a little bit more grounded, but and still questioning what his beliefs are, that this is still nonsense.
I don't know. Overall, not to tip my hat early, but I think that this was a perfectly serviceable 80s horror movie jaunt type of thing. There's stuff I like, there's stuff I don't like. It's one of those cases of being a sequel to a pretty great movie that makes this one a little bit easier to kind of pass over. And it's kind of understandable that I haven't seen it until now, but I thought it was fine.
Yeah, because you're dealing with, the first one is pretty high concept. What if your neighbor was a vampire, and really just launching off of that. But this one, they can't just do that again. They actually have to invest more in character, which some of that works for me, some of it doesn't. And you don't just want to do the exact same thing again.
Right.
After you've killed Jerry Dandridge, you don't want to have to, even though technically this is Jerry Dandridge's sister, you don't want to be just the same thing. But they managed to escalate that in fun ways, I think.
Right. Well, they do the the aliens type of thing. This is Fright Nights with a $sign at the end of it. And
Right.
it's what's scarier than one vampire or 1.5 vampires if we're considering Billy, whatever he was.
Right.
Multiple vampires that move in next door.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say that I love that choice just from the simple fact that it was made in 1988. Because you have some sweet looking people in here.
Well, it moves from being afraid of gay subtext. Mm-hmm. That's gone and is now replaced with being afraid of a polycule.
Yeah. Well, I can kind of understand that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of stuff going on there because you have your primary is Regine, played by Julie Carmen, but then like her big number 2, Belle, played by an androgynous Russell Clark, who's, I love that character.
Awesome.
And then you have kind of more of like in like the cuck third wheel role, you've got Louis because he kind of gets stepped on.
Yeah. And
then you have Bosworth, who I think just wants to have sex with the car. And that's why he's involved because he's not really tied to them, but he's always driving around.
Totally.
So I think his kink is car stuff.
That could very well be. He's up there in Canada calling up Cronenberg saying, when's Crash 2 happening, please? But yes, played by what's his name that I always forget his name that I love.
Brian Thompson.
Brian Thompson, yes.
The world record holder for the world's widest tongue.
Really?
Yeah, and you see it on display here as he eats bugs.
As he eats lots of bugs, yeah. I know him just as the bounty hunter from X-Files, but he's turned up in all kinds of good stuff. He's just got a cool face.
Yeah, he's a genre stalwart. Yeah. He's the villain in Dr. Mordred.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and I wrote in my notes, I could look up names while I'm watching the movie, and sometimes I'm just like, no, that's too much work. I'm going to call this guy just some random thing because that's easier, and I just kept calling him Bodyguard. Because he seemed a little I couldn't tell if he was a vampire for part of it because he seemed to be like kind of a caretaker kind of guy. Yeah. Like a little bit of a Jeeves.
Well, both Bosworth and Louis are kind of differing levels of Renfield because Bosworth is, you just see him eat bugs and that's kind of it. Louis is a little bit more of a werewolf. Right. A bit like Evil Ed. And they have a particularly kind of fun, playful relationship. Yeah. Playfully antagonistic, I should say. But they don't seem as like straight up bloodsuckers the way that Belle and Regine are.
I mean, the movie starts off with a pretty good premise, I think, where it's just, Charlie's been going to a psychiatrist for a little bit, and he is convinced that all this vampire stuff is just nonsense, and he needs to move past it. Whether or not I believe that out of him, I'm not sure. But they do make it a point during the credit sequence of him tossing all of his vampire hunting gear, which I think is a little bit funny. I understand you have to have that visually in the movie, but I'm just also like, how long is this your first session or is this many sessions on and you're finally now tossing all of your wooden stakes? But whatever.
Yeah, because you get a little last time on montage that sort of folds itself into he's telling the story yet again to his psychiatrist. But yeah, the idea that no, this was all his illusion is so they just kind of hand wave that away in this. And obviously, like, I don't want to say hand wave because like they kind of throw it away a bit because, he's apparently been in therapy for 3 years, but like, okay, so then where's Evil Ed?
Yeah.
There's so many things that if this was all just a hallucination, vampires aren't real, then what happened? And they never really bother with that.
Right. Also, what does your mom think about this? Do they even bring up his mom?
No.
Not like she was present the entire time, but she would know a little bit.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. Her like coming home from work and like the house next door is spilling mist and then,
Right. But yeah, like it's an okay enough premise to get us rolling, and because he has to deny it. Then of course, that's not going to last for very long. But in his almost kind of AA style therapy, he goes to see Peter Vincent with his girlfriend and just be like, yeah, come on, that's not all real, right? But I kind of love that Peter Vincent is like, no. Like,
oh, but my dear girl, the very best story of them all is the one that Charlie's already told you.
Oh, no, thank you.
The things that we saw and we did. Oh, I mean, you wouldn't believe half of it.
No, I probably wouldn't, Mr. Vincent.
I don't know. Maybe it was just like I liked seeing them back on screen together. That I was just like, what a nice way to open up this movie.
Yeah, it's fine. And it's like it continues on with the thing that was absolutely not explained in the first one. how Fright Night is still on the air. Like when we meet Peter Vincent with Charlie, he's getting fired because no one watches the show. And at the end, it's like, but somehow the show's back on. Because the one viewer, Charlie, is like, put it back on TV, please.
Right.
And now it's like, it's a huge thing where he's pissing off his producer because he's not following the scripts or whatever. It just makes it seem like a bigger thing than it was in the original, which fine. Yeah,
it's like at the end of it, they saved the rec center. They saved Fright Night somehow.
But there was no explanation of how that even happened. It's not like Jerry Dandridge was like, we got to shut down this Fright Night. I'm a concerned citizen. And now that he's dead, we don't care. But yeah, things are going good for Peter Vincent.
Right. Yeah. He's still in his apartment, which is nice to see. And of course, out the window of his apartment, Charlie does look outside and see 3 or 4 caskets getting wheeled in. And you cannot shoot that without just laughing the entire time, because it's, of course, I laughed out loud watching it alone, but I just thought like, again?
Yeah. Well, I like how he's like, absolutely not. Like that's his reaction is to just, okay, no, that's stupid.
Right. Because it's like not 1, but 4 caskets being wheeled in.
Because it's not the same thing that I've complained about before, where it's, a movie doing something and going, well, boy, isn't that stupid that we're doing it. It's him not wanting to admit what he's seen. It's him not going like, that's ridiculous. Of course. Why would there be 4 caskets?
Totally. Yeah. He ends up taking Alex to make out point as they're in the car. I did like this sequence because we get back cam again from the first movie. And then I really did like it when the camera tilts up and Regine, the vampire lady, is just kind of like laying there on the top of the car. It was pretty funny, but like kind of eerie too. I don't know. It worked.
Yeah. And then I didn't put together at first that when he's making out with his girlfriend and then she like sort of morphs into Regine.
Yes.
It took me a second. Why is he pulling away? Why is he stopping all of a sudden?
Right.
Which, I mean, like Charlie Brewster might be one of the horniest leading characters that we've done on this
100%.
show. Like he's always on the prowl, this guy, and not in the performative way of say like a character in a slasher movie might be.
Sure.
In a Marcus Nispel movie.
Yeah.
But he's always on the hunt, this guy.
Right.
Regine, the vampire, is played by Julie Carmen.
Mm-hmm.
It was killing me. I like where I knew her from, and then I figured out finally it was from In the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah.
But it's very funny because she takes the lead as this kind of sexy, vaguely ethnic vampire.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy is unsure whether or not he's turning into a vampire, which is the exact plot of Vampire's Kiss.
Yes.
Except it's Jennifer Beal and Nicolas Cage. And that came out the same year.
Oh, man. That might be a fun one for Patreon.
Yeah. That's a wild one.
Yeah, I haven't watched that in years, and I've been kind of meaning to rewatch that. So, yeah, stay tuned. Anyway, so from then on out, we get to I thought one of the greatest scenes in the movie, because there's an art student walking home with her art supplies. She has to tie her shoe. The victim is somebody who we hadn't seen before. And it's just funny in a horror movie like that, where it's just like, oh, yep, I've got walking like dead meat. Yeah. The reason why I say it is so wonderful is Belle roller skating right towards camera, looking as absolutely fabulous as possible, right towards camera, right down the barrel, and takes out that student.
And I think it's a testament to Russell Clark, who plays Belle, was Michael Jackson's choreographer.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. And is silent throughout the whole movie, but has this very androgynous 80s look, very, very femme in a lot of ways. And it's this thing that you're watching being like, this would be so much cooler if Belle was just floating down the hallway than on roller skates, but somehow Russell Clark makes the roller skates work.
Absolutely.
Like, it's silly, but it's still pretty haunting and cool.
Totally. And evidently when Richard was hired, he hung out with the rest of the vampire cast and would just sort of like coach them on how to move. So they would walk almost in unison, but in this kind of ethereal sort of way. So he did he did the choreography for the club scene later on, and any sort of like over the top movement. And that's the thing. None of the movement seems over the top except for, him on roller skates, which needs to be. Mm-hmm. So he's pulling a double and triple duty as not just like on-screen talent, but as a major choreographer for the movie. Let's see. We cut to some requisite nudity in the college campus, where a woman gets out of the shower and goes to close the window. I don't know if he's a werewolf or a vampire who can take werewolf form or what their mythology is here, but it doesn't really matter. But one of the first just like kind of Looney Tunes gags of this entire movie is just closing the window on his fingernails and he just like falls into the fountain.
Yeah, it shatters all of his fingernails and then he falls. Yeah. Or claws, I guess, really. But yeah, that is Louis, the more comic relief, played by John Gries or Grease. I don't know how to say it. Who a lot of people know is Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite.
Right.
But man, he's hilarious in this. He kind of, his character is like Reggie Bannister's cool brother.
Yes, totally. Yeah. I want to see him in werewolf form going on a road trip with Reggie Bannister.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he also played the Wolfman in the Monster Squad. So he has nards. That is
my God.
to remember. He is the Wolfman who has nards.
Man, you know what? I missed that subtext in this performance, but now I can totally. When you mention that, I can totally see it. I can see his nards.
He is a horny werewolf. Like he's still like going after Alex later on. So he is leading nards first, if you will.
But I do like that the interplay he has with Bosworth because every time he like fucks up, Bosworth is always right there, being like,
"You're supposed to bite her on the neck." Oh
man. So again, I enjoy the lower levels. Like he's like a new guy. He hasn't transcended to not caring about finding a date, anymore. But maybe that's why he is a little werewolfy, kind of like how Evil Ed was. Yeah,
the interplay between the characters makes it more fun to hang out with them, and
sure,
we spend a little bit more time with that because they are more interesting than Charlie. To be fair, they're vampires. I like the interplay, and apparently this was Brian Thompson's idea. Is that so? He eats bugs, but whenever he eats a bug, he picks it up and says its scientific name.
That's called genus and species.
That one.
Yeah.
Hydriomena nucleofasciata.
And then he eats a bug. Which, when they were casting, like, how comfortable are you having bugs in your mouth? And it was like, oh, okay,
yeah,
sure,
do it. Yeah, Regina goes to see Charlie at night, seduces him very easily because, of course, Charlie's requisite quality is that he's a horny college guy.
In fact, she tried probably too hard.
Yeah. Find out pretty quickly she is a vampire. She ends up biting him on the neck, but kind of just the tip, just a little bit into his neck. But he then wakes up. So they do this whole, like, was it a nightmare, a dream? The next scene is what we were talking about up top. The psychologist says, you need, maybe you need something to help you sleep. Why don't you go bowling alone? And is this something on the part of the screenwriter? Who loves bowling? Did they have access to a bowling alley? Was bowling super hot in 1987 that I didn't know about?
I just like that idea of you need some physical activity, go bowling.
Right. Yeah.
And that doctor, Ernie Sabella in The Lion King, he was one of the Pomone and Timba or whatever.
Really?
I whenever I see him, I just think he's the Pumbaa is who he is in. But I was thinking he's a naked guy on an episode of Seinfeld. He's a naked guy on a train.
Yep.
That's immediately what I think of. And he's very funny in this.
Yeah.
It's like he goes to offer Charlie like just a shitload of drugs to go to see. He was like, just say no. Okay. All right, fine.
Right.
But I like that's his go-to move. He's like, you're a vampire, whatever. Just take some drugs.
Yeah.
It's fine.
This is what I do. This is my license to prescribe. Unfortunately, Charlie misses a date with Alex. He ends up driving by, like, I was a little confused at this point. Like, was he driving by his school campus and he sees all the vampires just sort of hanging out?
This has happened. He's gotten bit in the neck and he ends up oversleeping and missing his class.
Right.
This friend of his is like, hey, I'm going out tonight. Who's apparently been a senior for years, apparently.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, I'm going out tonight. I need a tie. So he gives him a tie. And then he sees that same guy getting picked up by Regine.
That's it.
And this cadre of people, which is funny because from what the news report says later, he's at a community college.
Right.
And like how packed that area is out of everyone leaving, it looks like this guy's being picked up at high school by a limousine.
That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah.
Alex goes to her show while Charlie watches his friend get taken away, and the aforementioned friend with the tie gets bitten by two of the lady vampires, kind of like Rear Window style.
Well, it's actually Regine and Bell.
Regine and Bell.
So, yeah.
Yes.
That actor actually was in late stages of AIDS. And this was, I guess, his final role. And he was very open with the cast and crew about like, this is my thing. So everyone was, without having at the time much knowledge about how AIDS functioned and the how contagious or whatever it was, a lot of care was taken into trying to have characters bite him or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It does sound more mean than I'm sure we mean it, but or they meant it. But like, it's literally a movie about blood transfusion, like sucking blood, like bodily fluids, like that kind of thing. So, as long as people were respectful about it, I kind of don't mind that they're like, okay, we need to be a little bit careful with this. That there is safety concerns to have.
Right.
Here.
You shouldn't be biting people in the neck generally, I would say.
Oh shit. Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I did read a few interviews about how like he was very, very open with it to the cast and crew, and so many people were like supportive as much as they possibly could be. And he was just like, yeah, this is going to be my last film, which is just a wild idea to have in your head. Fright Night 2, last film.
Well, he was, and that's also that is Merritt Buttrick, and the son of James T. Kirk in Star Trek 2.
Oh, right. Yes.
David. Wrath of Khan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Charlie runs to Peter and is basically like, okay, look, there are vampires here.
It turns out I was wrong. You were right.
You were right again. Yeah. So come with me and let's go rescue. And so the two of them go to check out this party at the vampire's pad. It's funny because they immediately whip out crosses and all their weapons and stuff. And they basically just look like a couple of nerds who walk into this party.
I love that joke because they walk in and there's some guy who's immediately like making vampire noises opens his mouth, got the teeth.
Yeah.
Peter Vincent freaks out, shows the cross, and hits the guy in the face with the cross on accident. The guy's teeth goes falling out. He's like, hey, let's not get carried away, guys. All right. Even though he was just being a huge asshole about it.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, what gives?
Yeah, so fake teeth, and there's like a bowl full of fake teeth you can grab for yourself.
Yeah.
While at the party, the Fright Night theme music does finally play. So that great club music from the first one. And he gets to dance with Regine in front of everybody. So, how the turntables, like we're gonna do this now where she seduces him.
Yeah, where she she arrives with her entourage and immediately clocks him, and then there's this big performance of dancing with him, and he pulls out this crucifix, and as it's dangling between them and flying closer to her face changes into the more vampiric in a way.
Yeah.
And the movie does in this one, the vampires are less monstrous when they vamp out. They're more like the Amanda Donahoe Lair of the White Worm with just giant chompers, and that's about it.
Right.
Which is fine. It's a different thing. And they kind of explain away some of that for her anyway, in that we eventually learn that she is so much older than Jerry Dandridge.
Yeah.
Even though she's his sister.
Sister biologically or sister in blood?
Either way, it's a blood relation.
There you go.
But I do like that effect. It's a little corny the way it looks now, but I still enjoy it.
Yeah, it's
that little morph.
She says that she's a performance artist, and that's her kind of excuse for this whole party. So we get performance artist. Never liked in any time period. So annoying all the time, basically.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying.
One woman was into it, but yeah, that was the thing that I struggled with in Cronenberg's Crimes of the Future. I'm like, people care this much about performance art? Okay, all right. Right. I guess it's the future and things are bad. Yeah. So all we got is performance art. Right. So her vamping out. Oh, that was all just a performance piece, and Charlie fell for it. So he's like, okay,
yeah,
I was wrong. Guess what? I'm back on the no vampire train.
Back to no vampires. But wait, as they're leaving, of course, Peter pulls his trusty mirror trick all over again. I kind of like that it's an old man doing the trusty mirror trick because it's like his solution for everything. He's just like, whoa. Like, I've got it. And that's kind of endearing to me.
It's the one trick he knows.
Yeah.
Like, this worked before. But it was a little bit, the movie sometimes dips back in the well of the first one.
Yeah.
And in ways that I find a little grating. And that was one of them, but it still is like, okay, fine.
Right.
You've got enough goodwill that I'm on board for this.
Sure. She goes to meet Peter in the stairwell as he's making his exit. And that's where we learn that she is Jerry's sister.
Let's talk about blood, Mr. Vincent. It's very precious to me. Jerry Dandridge was 1,000 years old when you spilled his blood. He was my brother.
And then she just sort of disappears, stating that he will pay. But what I enjoy about this is she does form of fog, goes down the stairwell, then turns into a bat and flies up. So 2 theatrical exits.
I love it. And I love that, like, her plan, because she mentions, like, yeah, I know who Charlie Brewster is, and you're going to suffer, but not as much as him because you didn't choose to be here. It keeps that element. And as the movie goes on and starts to unfold, it keeps that element of, like, fucking with him. It's not just, no, I'm going to get you and kill you. It's more this psychological torture with them and, like, what she's doing. She's going to replace Peter Vincent on Fright Night, which is just hilarious that, like, oh, I'm this acclaimed performance artist. You know what I would like to do is be a horror host on this, wherever they are, like, tiny market late night horror show. It's funny because it is, like, okay, yes, it's this vengeance. I'm going to take away everything that you love. There's an element of it because this, on some level, this is supposed to represent, like, Elvira taking over for the previous Fright Night host, whatever, that this new era. And that the first one certainly dealt with that callback of, like, well, horror's changing. Let's remember that the old horror was fun.
Sure.
And in some ways, this movie was a little bit prescient in that it's this classic version of horror that's now being replaced by this weird art house stuff. It's her with fog and just this neat looking stuff. And it's all metaphorical, really, instead of just monsters.
My name is Amanda 24.
But because her performance is very cool when she finally does it. And then he rushes out to try to kill her.
It's great.
Which, again, like, by the end of the movie is like, oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Totally. And for me, I was also thinking more along the lines of, let's be gatekeepers for a second and just be like, no, you can't just waltz in here and be like, this gorgeous person with name 3 Cronenberg movies, like that's where I wanted to go with her, which I never ever do because that's annoying. But, like,
name 3 William Castle productions.
Right. Just like, who are you to come in here and knock Peter Vincent out of here?
But I just like that idea that the studio is like, absolutely.
Yes.
Performance artist, hot dog.
Right. She's used to getting paid nothing.
Yeah, you know what? That could be it.
That's
where it's just like, I get paid in exposure and whatever orange peels you have.
Please shower them over me as I leave. That is payment
that's
enough.
all I ask. Right. That is payment enough. Meanwhile, Charlie is struggling with his nascent vampirism.
Right. He's struggling with his vampirism the way we all do, going to a pizzeria for a quick slice, having someone explain all of the toppings on it, and then realize...
Are you getting this, audience?
Yes.
Are you getting this?
Right. Because, when I go to a pizzeria here in town, I ask them to explain all the toppings for me, and, If a slice has an entire bulb of garlic on it, I definitely eat it.
That sounds delicious. Thank you.
So he spits up the pizza and runs out of the pizzeria. We find out that Richard Green, his friend, was found dead. 2 vampires have killed his friend who borrowed the tie earlier.
Yeah, which he, by the way, when he saw him at the party, he's acting very weird.
Oh, right.
Richard's acting very weird. I do like that moment where Richard's kind of passed out on the couch. He seems like a little drunk, and Charlie starts trying to check his neck for puncture marks. Doesn't see any.
Yeah.
And it kind of seems like maybe he's coming on to him, but they don't play it off as like, ooh, gross, you weirdo. It's just that his response is,
it's the wrong thing to do, Brewster.
This ain't that kind of party.
Right. Also, makeup.
That's apparently it's makeup.
We cut to Alex, the girlfriend, just checks out a copy of Dracula, just, because that's your go-to.
Yeah, because
why not?
Because they had an argument about how he only likes garbage, and he was saying, this is such an amazing field, horror, and the literature is great. Haven't you ever read Dracula? And she's doing that like speed reading thing. Oh, she's like cupping her hand over the page and doing that.
Yes, it's so good.
You nerd.
Right. I was like, why are you reading like that? Do people actually do that? I guess that was like an 80s 80s, 90s thing, but
yeah, I don't know. I can barely read normally, so I don't know how to speed read.
you only read stuff that's small and on your phone and can be scrolled. Yeah.
Yeah. This doesn't look like One Piece. What the hell?
Charlie finds a whole bunch of hidden caskets down there, and he tries to go and stab Regine. He opens up one, sees her laying there, and just as he's about to, her eyes turn red, and then his eyes turn red. So they're joined.
I love that alarm system that she has, where like casket opens, and he's about to stab her, and she opens her eyes, and then closes them again.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like this is a last ditch effort. I'm sleeping, but like, hey. Watch it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You'd be surprised how often that works.
Again, a fantastic next scene. All the vampires get real silly at the bowling alley.
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of those, like, don't know why this is here, but this kind of makes the movie for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit like the vampires from Near Dark just kind of hanging out.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
They're just bowling.
Yeah.
And they're just throwing Belle down at, having Belle skate down.
It's so good.
To hit all the pins. Boz is bowling with two hands. He's named Boz, by the way, because of Brian Bosworth. Yeah. Football star at the time, an eventual star of Stone Cold.
Stone Cold Brian Bosworth. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so it's fun, and then they've killed the owners of the bowling alley, and Louis has put the guy's head in the ball return, and that's a funny little moment.
Good gag, yeah. Predictable but good. You know, how did Bosworth not see that?
But I just like that kind of playing around and giving an idea of the relationship between these vampires, other than just posing.
For sure.
Yeah, that they're like, we've got to kill time too.
Yes.
You know.
Everyone in the town is now tuned into Fright Night. We kind of covered a little bit of this before, but Regina is now the vampire. She's taken over, and she does like this whole performance art type of thing that is like very, very serious. Then we get to Louis attacks Charlie and Alex at the library, and they basically shove a rose in his mouth, and he runs off, which, as a student of horror and vampire lore, I enjoyed this bit.
See, that was news to me. I didn't know that.
Roses. So on your little tool belt that I see you wearing, you've got your garlic and your steak.
That's all I'm wearing.
Yeah. You can add roses to that, like fresh roses. Very few stories go with that, but if you can get close enough to a vampire to put roses in their mouth, you're in danger anyway. So.
Yeah, because I like that Louis has been stalking Alex, and like when Charlie and Peter go to the party, he was actually supposed to meet Alex at a symphony because she's very high-minded, and I love that Louis comes up to her. I was like, hey, you got an extra ticket? Like it's at the parking lot of a Dead show.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, if you go to see Mahler, really the parking lot is where it's at. That's actually where the community is. And I like to buy Mahler shirts and tie-dyed beads or whatever.
Yeah,
and
just tailgate beforehand.
And then when they leave, his line of,
How about that classical music? Tits, huh?
Yeah.
And somehow that works. She's like, this guy's all right.
Yeah.
He showed up for something. That is where my bar is at.
Right. Well, he showed up for something high-minded, but he still speaks like an oaf, like my current boyfriend. So I might have this like nice middle ground.
Yeah, you know? I have a project. He could be a project. That could be fun.
Yeah. The attack with Charlie and Alex at the library, Charlie gets taken to prison briefly, and then they get bailed out by the vampires.
Yeah, well, I don't understand why he got taken to prison.
Right.
I kind of
missed that too. So
yeah, because it seems like, so I don't know if it was as a result of like if Peter Vincent no, this was all Charlie's idea, or
or we got to do something.
Or if it's like the some shenanigans were going on at the library, they're breaking stuff up, and those are like campus cops, and they're like, hey,
yeah,
who's responsible for this? Well, you, so you're going to jail. And yeah, then Alex is like, okay, you're right. There are vampires. Here's this wolf man that tried to kill me. You shoved roses in his mouth and that stopped him. So I'm gonna go bail you out with the psychiatrist. And then they're like, okay, well, they figure out that Regine bailed him out. And she's like, all right, well, now we got to go get Peter Vincent. Maybe he knows what's going on. And Peter Vincent has been taken to a psych ward with a wacky guy, a wacky psych ward guy, a Brad Pitt in 12 Monkeys, that one guy from Nightbreed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These kind of characters just don't do a whole lot for me, and it's not even really for me personally the the portrayal of the mentally hurt. It's not so much even that, I guess, though maybe it should be. It's more like, oh, this is such a cliche. I just don't need to see this type of character anymore.
Well, and he's really, I mean, he's just there because he recognized Peter Vincent because he's a super fan, and then he's instrumental in Peter getting out of there.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's really just like that's all he's exists to do, and it's not that interesting.
Right.
But what I do find interesting is that while she and the Alex and psychiatrist are going to try to they get stuck behind a train, but there's no train coming, and we realize that the psychiatrist is in on it. He is a vampire as well. And she has to attack him. And it's played for laughs. And they do a thing where he keeps appearing in different places.
Yeah.
And that would be fun. Like earlier where you're talking about what we would do respectfully with demonic power is I would like to do that at least once, is to be able to sort of bilocate. Nope, turns out I'm right behind you.
Yeah.
But for good reasons. I've got a cake or something.
Got a cake or a hug as I'm leaving or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Because that's what people love, is to be surprised and then hugged.
Right. Hey, take me up, take me down.
But she ends up stabbing him with like a railroad tie or something like that. And it's a very comedic scene where he's like, oh, I don't think you got it.
This feels terrible. In your inexperience, you didn't push quite hard enough. I don't suppose you could accommodate me, Alexandra. Never mind. I know something of what you're feeling, and it's important for you to experience that.
Where it's like in that moment, he's kind of like, well, I realize that being a vampire is bad.
Yeah.
Probably I should be killed. But he's like, I'll just take care of it myself. But he also, like, he's not afraid of death. He doesn't seem like he was upset, like, oh, thank you. I hated being a vampire.
Yeah.
Because this also happens with a couple other characters where it's just like, oh, I understand that these states are all transitory, that it's all just changed. So I know I'm not alive anymore. I'm this vampire thing. Okay, well, I did this little bit. Hey, let's see what's next. Like, he's all very cool with it. Death just, he's reached this nirvana of being like, yeah, I'm just one with everything now. Go ahead and stab me with a trellis. I'm going to die and be born again as something else. I don't care.
Totally. And like,
maybe it's nothing.
His one frustration is almost like, oh, you didn't stab me right. Like, let me adjust this. Okay, now I'm out.
Yeah. Because you could, in theory, if she didn't stab him right, just take it out.
Yeah.
But he's like, no, I'm ready to go.
I'm done.
Yeah.
You sit through one more hour-long session of these people whining. I am ready to be done.
Hey, Charlie is your problem now.
Right. But still no such thing as vampires.
Which I like in that when they're discussing, when Charlie and Peter Vincent are discussing vampires, I think it's Peter trying to reassure him that he's like, well, it couldn't happen again. Why couldn't it happen again?
Right.
By nature, they're making other vampires.
That's the point of vampires.
Yeah, you make more vampires. It could absolutely happen again. Unless the idea was that, like, well, no, Jerry was the only one, and when we killed him, I guess. But come on. Yeah. If there's one vampire, it's like roaches. If you see one, you've got a bunch. You're
infested. Yeah. Belle and Regina are prepping Charlie to be turned into a vampire. And I like this. They only want to turn him into a vampire so that they can torture him forever, which is a great dark idea that is actually kind of scary. It's like the wildly different tone film Interview with a Vampire. It always struck me when Lestat gets walled up in the like behind the bricks in the coffin. And it's just like, oh my God, he's going to stay there for centuries.
Right. Yeah.
That's scary. Like,
basically getting eternal life to be the Gimp from Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, right. Just none of this cool vampire shit anymore. You're just going to get tortured forever.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Because you killed my brother. Prepare to not die.
Cut to another fantastic bit to me, which is Peter Vincent and Alex running through his apartment doing, I love a good suit up montage or a getting the weapons ready montage from an 80s movie anyway. But this has the added sweetness of him name checking every movie that he got his props from.
Yeah.
And I find that adorable. All of these experiences, like, kind of like it validates all of his performances that he was in, because I have these weapons now. And see, that wasn't B-movie shit after all. This is going to save the day. That's what every nerd likes to know. Like, very much in like What's the Star Trek movie?
The Batleth? No. Oh no.
The Batleth. Yes. That's what you do to take out a vampire. A batleth.
A batleth.
You know, yes.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
There you go. Yeah. No, the one with
Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest, where all the nerds like know how to save everyone.
Right.
You know, at the end.
No, it's like, look, all these replica swords mean that I am actually the Highlander. That's really what you want.
Right. But yeah, it's a very sweet moment of him getting all suited up and ready to go. And he's fully on board for another charge.
I wonder if this was in reference to something else, or if this was influenced by anything else that like more gearing up and making these kind of wacky inventions. Like they have a lawn sprayer. I don't know what you call that, like a weed sprayer thing, like filled with holy water. Mm-hmm. That's real fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is this validation of like, all my work, this is all, even though like he didn't make any of those props or anything, but he's like, no, this was all real and good. And I am actually a fearless vampire killer.
Yes.
I'm not insane.
I didn't just play one on TV. And
yeah.
I can do this.
Even though he is absolutely a coward. And again, like Roddy McDowall is so much fun. And there's as we mentioned on the last one, there's a documentary, You're So Cool, Brewster, about the making of both of these. And it's hosted by William Ragsdale doing an impression of Peter Vincent. Mm-hmm. And it's very sweet. It's very loving. Like it's because it's played for laughs, but it's also like, you can tell they got on and they enjoyed each other's company.
Yeah.
Roddy McDowall, he had told the actor that played Louis, he was like, just make sure I don't go too hammy. That's the one thing I ask. I can get that, and I need to be up there, but I need to stay like somewhat realistic. Mm-hmm. And I think he manages that pretty well.
Yes.
Like, because he's a ridiculous over the top character, but he's not completely disengaged from reality as well. Like he's fearful throughout most of this movie, and that underpins even his like most. Because I think that suiting up thing is also him kind of like finding these totems that make him feel safe. Like, no, this is fine. Nothing's going to hurt me because I have this, and I was alive in this movie and it didn't hurt me at all. So
totally. So Richie, who borrowed the tie a few scenes ago, is fully turning, but Peter arrives and squirts holy water on him. Fantastic. He's got his little weapon like you were mentioning. It's great. Get some face melt.
I loved this effect. I was not expecting it to be as nasty as it was. The effects by, I believe it's Fantasy 2. Is that the name of the company?
Sounds right.
They have his face, like, instead of just like burning it, like blisters up, and then his neck just opens and water starts pouring out of it.
Great.
Which doesn't make much sense, but it was still cool to see.
Louis, the vampire werewolf, whatever, attacks Peter, but Charlie shoots him with a crossbow. Last words.
Bullseye, dude.
Again, totally comfortable, not like being upset, but just like, hey, nice work. I'm off to whatever next stage is. I'm comfortable with death. Which that was a line, I guess, that the actor came up with. Tommy Lee Wallace was very open to like actors kind of bringing their own stuff to it. Yeah. Like I mentioned, Brian Thompson bringing his insect eating knowledge to it. But
yeah, might as well with a movie like this. I mean, you want it to be fun like that.
And yeah, and it totally stays true to the tone of the whole thing too.
Charlie is now on the verge of turning. Alex and Peter are just kind of skulking around the lair with crossbows and stakes and ready to go at it. Charlie, the staging of this is a little bit weird. So Charlie is like kneeling. I think it's Regine is in front of him, right? Mm-hmm. And then Bosworth is behind him, and he just grabs her claws and stabs them into Boz's guts.
Yes.
I mean, it's a little ham-fisted, but I'll go with it, you know?
Yeah.
Especially because of the makeup effects that we get after that, which is his belly spilling open and maggots just pouring out of it.
Yeah, he's the Oogie Boogie Man, apparently. And he's, and I think really it's a metaphor for learning to chew your food. Because apparently he's just been eating these things whole, and he's got this whole insect terrarium inside of him. Ew. Yeah, the maggots all like spill out. And apparently it was very uncomfortable to wear because Brian Thompson had a latex appliance over his stomach, and there was something a little like behind it, so the insects weren't just like digging into his abdomen, but he could still feel them writhing around in his abdomen at some point. Like he's trying to stay hunched over, so the appliance stays closed, because it's when he leans back, it opens like claw marks, and that's where they start spilling out. But his stomach started spasming. He's like, I don't know if that was from the insects or what. But so just imagine having like a pocket full of insects just crawling around on you. The glamorous life of acting.
Right. And you know that they were just like, okay, set the appliance, sit down, up, makeup last looks, up, adjust that light, up, just, like all these things that like take forever to finally get rolling. Yeah. Ugh.
So he gets a great death.
For sure.
Insects pouring out of him, and I guess that's the end of him.
Yeah.
Which again, like, so was he a vampire or not?
Yeah.
Or
wasn't quite sure.
But whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He was a monster.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Now that I think of it, in Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula, which I adore, I don't care if it's cheesy or whatever, but
I love it. It's great.
Accents, don't care.
Neither did Keanu Reeves.
Don't care. Tom Waits eats a whole bunch of insects as Renfield in that too. So I'm basically saying Francis Ford Coppola loved Fright Night Part 2 and Boz and kind of aped that.
The only other retelling of the vampire mythos, Fright Night Part 2.
Right, yeah. Don't remember if that's in the book or not. Whatever. Belle flies towards them. They wrap Belle in a rug.
Yeah, it's a little just a cheap setup because it's just doing the same move that Belle did before with the roller skates. Yeah. And again, it's a great shot. Yes. Like it's super cool, coming right at the camera, like looking creepy. But then Belle's big plan was to just get them.
Yeah.
As I'm just going to lunge at these people. And they catch Belle in a robe, something that they stole from a church. Like I wasn't clear what it was supposed to be, but they just swaddle the hell out of that guy. Yeah. And the result is a cool death.
Yes. Glowy.
Yeah. Belle to basically become gelatin and melt.
Right.
And it's a really great stop motion effect that I guess they achieved. Like they really barely had the shutter down at all for any of it. Like, so it's really smooth. It's not very choppy, but it is a really cool effect. Like it's imagine like if you've ever seen Mythbusters, that'll show, and they had that gelatin dummy that they would do stuff with. Oh. Just melting one of those, and it's full of different organs and stuff. And,
the result is great, but it just I don't know. Catching Belle in a rug seems a little.
It's just little anticlimactic. Yeah. It leads to a great effect, but just was like, oh, all right, well,
right. But that causes Regine to basically, she's just kind of clawing her way through the floorboards to get to the basement. And I do kind of like that animalistic desperation of just like, I'm not even going to look for a proper exit. I'm just going to drill through the floor.
Yeah.
To get down to my coffin.
I'm nuts to this. I'm going to go to bed.
That's the way I live.
Right. Yeah. Because it is starting to be the daytime.
Right.
But she's just like, nuts to this. Alex and Charlie have gotten down to like where her coffin is and have placed a whole bunch of wafers, communion wafers, in the dirt of her coffin, inside her coffin, in a cross, which I don't think was necessary, but is a nice little extra fuck you.
You might as well. Yeah. But yeah, she's in monster form now. She's kind of bat-like, just kind of thrashing around and flying a bit. And the sun reflection is coming from a piece of glass also held by Peter Vincent.
Peter Vincent loves mirrors.
Again, like, is kind of how they defeated the vampire in the first movie, just with light. But it's just kind of one of those, I don't know, it's a little too easy to me of just like, I'm just going to move this piece of glass around, hope it hits. Hey, got her. That's about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's them working together, which is nice because William Ragsdale Charlie is dragging her into the light, but it is a little easy, I guess I would say. But again, you get a great effect, her melting effect. I still like the one on the first one a little bit better.
Yeah.
But it's is super cool.
I like the touch of her trying to crawl back into the coffin, even when she's all messed up at the end. That has a sad desperation to it.
Julie Carmen, who plays it, did not want to take the role initially because she was a little bit too just, I'm, a vamp. And that's kind of it, that she wanted the character to have a little bit more depth. And I don't think they achieve the level of humanity that like Chris Sarandon brought to it, or that they created with Jerry, but she still is a little bit more of a complex character.
Yeah.
And adding that little humanistic element or empathetic element of just, okay, but what if I made it? What, there's still a chance. There's still a chance. It's still good.
Totally. Yeah.
Oh no, turns out I'm getting blown up by communion wafers.
Right. She didn't have the quiet dignity that the others did about moving on to the next world.
Yes, there's a no thanks. And that's it's pain unless you just accept it.
Yep. And then that's it.
It's like fast forward, Charlie and Alex are outside being like, man, what a day. Wasn't that crazy? We should go have a bunch of babies. Okay, sounds good. So once again, the movie ends with Charlie finally getting some.
pretty solid to me. I liked it just fine. I didn't love it. I didn't. I mean, as far as the sequel goes, again, its biggest sin is being a sequel to a pretty great classic movie. Really.
Yeah, I think it takes too long to get going. Overall, there's a lot of. I mean, it's an hour 43. I feel like you could have gotten rid of some stuff to keep it moving a little bit more, because the whole like, is he or isn't he? They simultaneously don't do enough with, but also do too much with. Because it's like, we all know it's not the case.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of waiting for him to catch up, and that gets a little bit old.
Totally.
But I do like the cast. I do like the new characters. They're fun. Apparently, I have not had confirmation on this, but apparently there was going to be a third one. There was talking about there was going to be a third one, but they were supposed to meet with Live Entertainment chairman Jose Menendez, but then he got murdered by his sons, and that kind of threw the meeting out of whack. And then, and never happened. So like part 2 ended up getting a poor release after kind of the chaos that ended, or that resulted from that, and so it didn't get a lot of butts and seats. And so that all went right away.
Yeah. Did you read what McDowell called up Tom Holland to say after that meeting?
No.
First words out of his mouth after Menendez was murdered, he says, "Well, I didn't do it. Did you?"
Oh man.
God.
Oh
yeah.
I could just hear that voice too. Like, that sounds lovely.
Mm-hmm. But we'll probably get more into it in our wrap up episode. But yeah, there was for a brief time, like Tom Holland and McDowell wanted to do a part 3, and they were gonna gunning to do another one, but this one wasn't exactly received very well, and there was not a very good distribution or rollout or marketing for it or anything. It just kind of all fell apart and went to video pretty quickly. Okay, let's honor our dead. Art Major, played by Rochelle Ashana. Drained of blood by Belle. Unnamed bowling waitress. Drained of blood by Belle. Bowling manager. Decapitated by Louis off screen. Dr. Harrison, played by Ernie Sabella. Impaled by Alex with a stake. Richie Green, played by Merritt Buttrick. Sprayed with holy water, melted. Louis, played by Jonathan Grease, shot in the chest with crossbow. Bosworth, played by Brian Thompson, disemboweled with Belle's nails, maggots fall out. Belle, played by Russell Clark, melted with the red holy cloth. Regine Dandridge, played by Julie Carmen, set fire by sunlight reflected off glass.
It's solid. It's not great. It was fun enough to watch. I like the characters enough that seeing them again was a good time. It just could have been a little zippier, I guess.
I'll remember Belle forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a great character.
The vampires were great.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what their idea was for a third one.
Yeah.
I'm not upset that there's not a third one.
Sure.
I guess I'll put it that way. So you end up with just 2 pretty decent movies. Obviously the reasons for it are not great, but
right. Yeah.
I don't support that.
Right.
But we'll see how that gets translated into the remakes.
Well, everyone, tell us, did you like part 2? Did it hold up to part 1? Those of you, like, how many of our listeners have actually seen part 2? Like, I barely knew that this existed before we started looking into franchises to do. So that's, again, half the fun, just marking these off. So let us know what you thought of this one, and fire up that remake. That's next on the list, right?
That is next on the list.
That is next on the list.
2011
remake of Fright Night will be next. So until then, you can email us at thismayhurtabit@gmail.com, hurtabitpod on Instagram, and This May Hurt a Bit on YouTube. And so we'll see you next week for the newer, sexier version of the movie. Good night.
Good night.
This has been a Caretaker Press production. It was produced by James Strayer and edited by John C. Myers. Logo by Ethan Kimberling and music by Michael Arthur Holloway, who you can find on Bandcamp. Follow us on Instagram at This May Hurt a Bit Pod and email us at thismayhurtabitpod@gmail.com. Give us a 5-star review over on your favorite podcast app, and we'll see you next time.